Can I stop now? Is my face going to stay that way? I have to do this fake smile for the Facebook picture where it gets you going. Kind of think it does it on purpose. Got some Facebook information for you guys. We'll give you that once we get started. We are live for today's edition of the Xander Gibb Show. We are just in pre-production mode, and we're just getting started. Who have I got? A belter of a exclusive for you. We got a great show coming up. We are just sharing to all the various places. My computer's pissing me off just for a change. Oh, did that Xander Gibb guy swear? It's fine. I'm angry. I'm angry about what's going on in the country right now, so I can swear a little. Here we go. We are sharing because sharing is caring. Let's of the Xander Gibb Show. We are just in pre-production. Shut up, Xander. Right, let's get the YouTube link so we can share the YouTube link to various places. I'm tired tonight. I had a lovely day though. I went out for lunch again. We have this scheme going on in the UK right now where you can kind of eat in any restaurant or any kind of participating restaurant half price. So I went and had a lovely carvery dinner for like $9, like eight and a half. Participating restaurant. Shut up. Half price. That Xander Gibb guy is sure annoying when he's trying to talk when I am talking. He talks over me. Tends to happen now and again. If you have just joined us, you are watching and listening to the Xander Gibb Show. We're in pre-production mode, and we're just getting ready to go live for the very best in Patriot Broadcasting. And if I haven't said it already, guys, Trump 2020, because that's what we're here for. That's why I'm sitting up at 1 a.m. in the morning at 69 degrees. Not for my health, but for my president. That's what I'm doing. Right, let's just share this to Parla. Parlez-vous parler? Do you parlez-vous parler out there, guys? Here we go. We're nearly done with the sharing. Just got a couple of places to share to. On Facebook, if it lets me do it, because I'm being... Hello, my Gina. You are early. Welcome to you. I'm just going to share on Facebook. And then we will start the show. Can't stop singing today. This song by Moloko. Anybody heard of Moloko out there? Called I Just Cannot Contain This. All right, we're sharing. Avoiding extreme sounds and pages that I shouldn't be sharing them because they'll beat me up. And here we go. I think they mix them all up so you don't know where you can and you can't share. Here we go. Reopen the UK. Reopen the USA. Basket of deplorables. Grassroots conservatives. Not saying at 6. MAGA Red Wave. Trump 2020. America. Here we go. We're nearly there. Just sharing too. Thank you to the guys at the New Deplorables. I'm always happy when I see that my shares have been actioned very quickly, and they've been very good at the main Deplorables page of late too. Hello, my brother. Hello, chat. Got so much to tell you, brother. going to get you to call in. I'm not doing the hot topics tonight. I'm going to get you to call in because I want to discuss something with you if you're able to do so. But just let me get finished with this sharing, because sharing is caring. Yep, wicked savage deplorables. There we go. That's that. And that lets us be just in time to start the opening titles for the Xander Gibb Show.
It has been good to me this time around. Things were bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact and I can find no rest. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to those who wait. Time it cannot know the bounds, and era don't dictate.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of the Xander Gibb Show, the talk show that really does get you talking on the Xandermonium Network, live from an undisclosed location. Oh yes, sirree. I'm Xander Gibb, bringing you the best in Patriot broadcasting 5 nights a week. And on tonight's edition, I get on my soapbox for a little while, and I'm hoping to do that with Chet and bring you the real. No, we won't be bringing you the real news because we have a scoop for you. Swoop from Suits World joins us, and in part two, Julio Rivera from Reactionary Times joins us to break down today's hottest topics. You can have your say in the feed below, and as usual, I'll be sharing your comments as we go along, so keep them clean-ish. You can follow me on social media everywhere but Twitter, because Twitter are anti-conservative assholes. And you can find everything about me, well, not my age or my weight, at xandergibb.com. Let's come to the live feed and say hello to everybody. They're in. Hello to my Gina. Hello to my Chet. Hello to my Swoop. Hey now, brother. Hello to, who else is there? Hello to everyone else that's watching, but not in the live feed. Do come join us. Do click share. Now I'm going to see if I can get. I'm skipping the news breakdown today because I want to get Chet to call in if Chet's going to call in, because I have a scoop that I want to share, and this is something that he's experienced too, that I now have evidence of. So if you can call in, Chet, that would be great. You know the number, 845-363-4747. That's 845-363-4747. Now I'm going to start explaining this exclusive while I wait for Chet to call in if he can. So we've been saying for long enough, that as conservatives we're being shadow banned on social media, and I finally have the proof. Now, every time a guest comes on my show, I share their, oh God, no power till Saturday. Gosh, that's terrible. I share and tag them into the page. And so we had a guest on Tuesday night, Tony Losaco, who's a regular on the show. And I said, what's going on, brother? You're not sharing, you're not allowing my posts sharing the show that you're starring in being allowed, you're not allowing it to be shared on the your page. And so he said, yeah, I am. So I took a video of how his page looks. You can't post on his page. You basically kind of whatever the word is, his settings are that you can't post on his page, but you can be tagged. He can be tagged in. So he sent me the same video version, a video version of his page, Basically, it's direct evidence that they are shadow banning me as a conservative. So when I tag you in a post and you say, yes, Xander, that's okay, I want to be tagged in your post, that basically they're not letting other people see that. So I am going to tomorrow, I'm going to make a video and I am going to send this to AG Barr. I'm going to send it to his office and to the president's office because I am tired of being treated this way by Facebook. So you're on notice, Mark Zuckerberg, you data lookalike from Star Trek. I have to try and be as polite as possible. You mail order bride buying asshole. You are on notice that I am going to sue you for several things, including the fact that you're operating as a publisher when you are a utility, and you are also evading taxes by paying taxes as a utility rather than a publisher, so you get cheaper taxes. So I am done now. I am not going to stop doing my show. I am not going to be shadow banned by you, and I am not going to have this bullshit from you anymore. So I will put that together tomorrow, folks, and we'll show it at the beginning of the show so you can actually see the difference in the two feeds, because they are they're shadow banning conservatives. Here we go. Let's bring Chet on. Welcome to the show, my brother Chet. How you doing? I know you're without power. I know that it must be really difficult for you. My sister told me she's without power too. Have you had any complaints about your generator?
Yeah, it's just, Xander, I'll tell you, and I was trying to hear what you were saying, but unfortunately my feed is cutting in and out. Once again, our feckless leader of a governor has left us high and dry.
Wow.
Where PSEG, which we were guaranteed when it replaced LIPA that we wouldn't have issues like this. We had high winds. We did not have a hurricane. We had high winds, and in my area, you cannot get any type of power out here. We don't have phones. We don't have Wi-Fi.
Wow.
I come home, I find my mother sweating to death, and you can't get an answer. When you call to the PCSG, you get an answering machine telling you about COVID-19.
Wow.
That's what you get. I'll tell you, Xander, New York is an embarrassment, but I do want to hear about the news.
Totally.
I want to hear about what you have to tell me.
Totally. I mean, and it is secondary compared to what you and other New Yorkers are going through, and I'm deeply sorry for that, because as a New Yorker, I'm embarrassed right now for the level of, the lack of support that is being given to New Yorkers by its governor and New York's mayor, and I hope that this will translate in them being gotten rid of, because America deserves better. New York deserves.
You know what
better.
it is, Xander? They're too busy trying to take the president down.
Yeah. But don't you think...
That's what it is.
I've been saying this for long enough, because clearly Democrats and Republicans in New York are being affected by this. Surely, if you're a Democrat and you know that your governor is a Democrat and your governor is effing around with you like this, you have actually got to the point where you're saying, I'm not doing this anymore,
I would love to give you the great answer for that one, Xander. Unfortunately, I think that lies in the unions. And once again, we've just been left out high and dry. And, I know my elderly mother could have easily died today. Waiting in a home without any AC and any way to call the fire department or the police. So, kudos to the leadership in New York.
What assholes. What freaking assholes. I mean, it's clear that what they're... You know who they're going to blame for this, don't you?
Yeah, the president.
Yeah, they're going to say,
they blame the president. If somebody farts, they blame the president.
Exactly. And I think that, ultimately, if people don't take notice of this now, I hate to say this, I was going to say you deserve what you get, but the unfortunate side effect of that is that those people who don't deserve it are getting the brunt of this bullshit too.
Right. No, and I've caught myself saying that. We've all said that in the past.
Absolutely.
But, you know, the bottom line is, well, you know, there are people that live in the state of New York that can't leave. And if they could, they would, but they can't. And unfortunately, what we're dealing with right now is the result of voting blue for this state.
Yeah.
And it's got to change at some point.
Yeah.
It does. Listen, I was on and off. I heard what you were talking about. Tell me what's going on.
So in a nutshell, every time a guest is on the show, like when you're on the show, when anybody's on the show, I tag them into the post so they can authorize it, or it goes on if they don't have any settings. So I saw that it wasn't going on to Tony Lasacco's page. So I said, is there a problem? You know, it looks like you're not sharing the post, et cetera, et cetera. So he said, oh, no, Xander, they're there. You know, the post is there from last night. So it wasn't visible for me. So I sent him a video and he sent me a video. And when you look at the video side by side, none of my posts, because I tag him and stuff when he's not on too, you know, like I do with you and other guests who support the show.
Right.
And so when you put them side by side, it's clear that they're not showing my posts. I can't see that my posts are on his timeline. So they're shadow banning me, which explains so much.
Yes, that's what they're doing. You have, and I've said this before to you, you have probably 3 to 4 times, maybe even more by now, of the listens that it shows you.
Yeah.
The same thing used to happen to us years ago, and I'm like, man, you know, we have so many more followers than we get listens, and it was because they're not properly showing who's viewing your videos, and they're not showing your videos. Period.
Absolutely. And also, you know, they're kicking people out of the live feed. There's 4 people on the live feed. You know, thank God we don't only rely on social media. But ultimately, you know, the problem is that they're...
Of the listens that...
Go ahead.
Jan, I'm sorry, you're cutting in and out.
I'm sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can. You know, it's not you. I'm really sorry about this. Unfortunately, with Verizon and what's going on right now here on Long Island, it's just I have a very bad connection, and it's unfortunate, but it is what it is.
I totally appreciate that, brother. You know, this with regards to the shadow banning is something that we've both experienced now. You know, as a reciprocal thing, you know, you always share my show, I share your show. It actually takes me nearly half an hour to share your show to all of the pages because it physically tries to stop me from doing it.
I know. It really is a scheme that they have going, and I think it happens to every conservative out there that has any type of messaging that they don't agree with. They want to ban us. They want to quell our messaging, and they want to stop the president from being reelected. That's what it's all about, man.
I mean, okay, fair enough. Do that, but pay your freaking taxes, because they're paying taxes as a utility when they're actually a publisher, because you pay less taxes as a utility than you do a publisher. And so what I want to see happen, and I know that the President Trump's people listen to this show, I want to see that President Trump's administration take action against social media for actually paying the wrong taxes as a utility when they should be paying as a publisher, because if they're editing us in this way and vetting us so much, then they are a publisher. They are a publisher. So pay your taxes accordingly.
Well, I totally agree with you there. And also, there has to be more of a movement inside these conservative groups besides 1 or 2 people screaming from the top of the mountain, because that's not going to cut it.
No.
And if you're not sticking up for those that are around you, they're not going to be there to stick up for you.
Exactly.
When you need them.
Exactly. You know, between you and I and everybody else that's listening, I am tired of this. I am tired of being the lone fighter, you know, along with yourself, obviously, but I'm tired of doing this. You know, I could quite easily change the format of my show and actually get more listeners from doing it. But I'm a patriotic American. I'm sitting up at 1 o'clock in the morning, and I've got 5 people in the feed on Facebook because people are being kicked out. And I'm tired of it, frankly, because, I'm not here for my health. Just like you don't do the show on a Sunday for your health, you do it to make a difference to America.
Oh, well, absolutely. And, it's the same thing that we do every day when we're trying to update, our site and our page and everything that we try to do to help out with the president getting reelected. And I just don't see enough of it happening around me.
No.
And it is sad because I think everybody could do a better job, but they just choose not to. And that goes hand in hand with saying, he's going to win easily. We got this in the bag.
Yeah.
If we have that attitude, you're going to have a president in Joe Biden who doesn't know who the hell he is, and Bernie Sanders is going to be turning the dial from the Oval Office, because everything that the president has shown so far is right out of Bernie's playbook. And if you don't think that's happening, folks, you better wake up quick.
Exactly. And to be honest, I won't bat an eyelid going over to a mainstream show, because if people can't show the support, why should I bother? Why should we bother to put? Because let's face it, we get attacked every day on social media for this. My ban has just been lifted on my main account for broadcasting live, and I checked it and I thought, yeah, I don't trust it right away. I'll wait a little while before I start broadcasting from it, because ultimately what they do is they cut you off midstream. They do the things to you that they're doing to me right now, and I'm tired of it. And
Yeah.
my internet is fine, and I know that people's feed is crapping out, and there are 3 people in the Facebook chat room right now because this is what they're doing, and it's disgusting. It's un-American, and Mark Zuckerberg should be strung up by his balls.
Well, the bottom line is Facebook always has done false advertisement. When they give you their terms of use, there's nothing in there that tells you that you have to have a particular ideology or political viewpoint to be on Facebook, and to be able to get the proper views and not be shadow banned like we're being. And people say, well, it's its own entity. Facebook is a private enterprise. No, it's not, because there are terms of services that they've broken the law with.
Right.
And if that's going to be happening, they should be taxed, not only pay their taxes, but they should be taxed up the yin-yang.
Yeah, they should, because they're claiming to be a public utility, which gives them tax breaks when they're actually a freaking publisher. And it's time for this to be sorted out, because nobody's going to go off en masse. I know advertisers are pulling out because of the political stuff, but it's too late for that. It'll be too late for you and I, and for the Xander Gibb Show, and for Freedom on Deck, when they've pummeled us into the ground. We got to leave it there. But I hope they get your power sorted out soon. Is there any idea when they're gonna be able to do that?
Yeah, Saturday.
Saturday. So what the hell are you supposed to do?
Winds, we didn't even have the hurricanes, Xander. High winds, and we have no power till Saturday.
So how can they explain that away? That is the biggest pile of bullshit ever.
Yeah, I've been trying to share the story, and I'll try to send something your way, but unfortunately, our governor's not responding to us. He's too busy outside trying to ruin the president's chances. So,
absolutely,
we can't expect him to help us out.
No, of course not, because we can't expect him to do his job, because he's a Democrat. Purely and simply.
Well, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
It
I'm
is.
embarrassed to be in New York.
It is.
I hope that I'll be able to listen to the rest of the show. Last night I wasn't, but I'm going to try tonight, buddy.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, brother, for calling in, and I hope you get sorted out soon.
Thanks, man.
Thanks a lot. God bless. That was Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck. Make sure you go and check him out on freedomondeck.com, and you can also check him out on Facebook on the Freedom on Deck page. Our first guest tonight is Swoop from Swoop's World, and he's going to be calling us any minute from the United States of America to shoot the breeze. Let's go to the live feed if there's actually anybody in there. It's not. I think people have just been kicked out so much that they have gone. And it is really, I'm going to listen to it for just 1 second. On that page. Our first guest tonight is... Yeah. It's intermittent. I know it's not my internet. I know it's them that are interfering with it. And it's disgusting. I am tired of Facebook. And I think it's time that some legal action was taken against them, because it's actually borderline election tampering. So our first guest is Swoop from Swoop's World, and he will be calling us any second now. Never happens, does it? Not like it does in the TV. On the TV and in films and stuff, when you go, oh well, this call will happen now. Here we go. Let's see if we can bring on our first guest. Please join me in welcoming back to the show the one, the only, the fabulous Swoop. How you doing, brother?
What's happening, Xander?
Oh God, the world has gone mad, and social media is picking on me, Swoop. Tell them off. Tell them to stop.
F them, man. That's all I can say.
Yeah. You know what? I'm doing.
It never ends, right?
I'm doing the show whether they like it or not. It just doesn't just go out on Facebook. Social media is a small blip in the Xander Gibb show empire. There are listeners all over the globe, and they're going to still be listening anyway, whether Facebook try and mess it up. So screw them. Screw you, Mark Zuckerberg, and your mail order bride.
When you were talking to Chet, you said something about hanging them by the balls. That assumes that certain people have balls.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Data was anatomically correct, and I think that Mark Zuckerberg was formed in Data's image. So I wonder if he does have balls. Answers on a postcard. I want to jump right into our first topic. Rashida Tlaib, outspoken Michigan progressive, defeated Detroit City Council President Brenda Jones in the Democratic primary for Michigan's 13th congressional district today. Her primary win in one of the most Democratic House districts in the country all but officially confirms that Tlaib will be returning to Washington. I'm confident in the movement that we've started, Tlaib said. I'm just wondering if that's a bowel movement by any chance. She told supporters on a video live stream as results came in last night. Our country is ready. For someone like me, and others are saying enough is enough with corporate greed, enough with the assault on our families. It's funny, I thought corporate interests were all part of capitalism. Tlaib's victory dashes the hopes of some moderate Democrats who were eager to humble the activists left by unseating a member of the progressive squad of the freshman House women. The first-term Congresswoman, a Palestinian American who is unwilling or maybe unable to denounce terrorism, diminishes the faith of less progressive liberals. What does this win mean as a whole? What do you think, Swoop? Does it mean anything? I expect it means very little for the Democrats as a whole.
Well, it doesn't mean much. I mean, that's part of their process, and they went with the incumbent. I think, as Chet mentioned, you can't have an attitude that somebody's going to go ahead and walk away with an election. You also can't have an attitude that just because somebody garners their party's nomination in the primary, that they're going to defeat you in the later on when in November.
Right. So
yeah, it's highly likely that she's going to win because that district is solid blue. But you know what? I think with all the things that are going on in the world and going on in the U.S. and going on in Michigan, especially like in Detroit, a lot of people's minds are being changed. So I don't think it means much now. If she wins again outright, then you just have more years of her crap.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things that I find interesting as an ex-Democrat is that so many non-progressive Democrats actually dislike their MO, the women in the squad. And I hate this ideology that, we the other side of the aisle dislike them because of either the color of their skin or their religion, when it is clearly down to their anti-American policies. But don't the American voters deserve better, as in, representatives that actually love America basically.
Oh, absolutely. I think there are a lot of people in office who don't believe in the values of this country. I think a lot of people in office that are extremely detrimental to this country. And I think the citizens do deserve better. And a lot of these people get elected, and they don't really give a crap about their constituents. It's about their agenda, and we see this all the time. So I think when people get fed up enough and they start throwing some of these people out, a lot of people just go in and they check. They know these names. They've known these names for. Like you take Biden, for instance. This guy's been in office with 40 some odd years. Pelosi's been in office since.
Yeah.
It's people just go in there under name recognition. A lot of people don't do their homework. They don't. They're not politicos. They vote because they know they have that opportunity and they want to utilize that opportunity. But a lot of times they don't do their homework. That's why we have so many what do you call those things? Things that they passed. When we tax ourselves and all these kind of things that are on the ballots every year. People don't read these
right.
These things that they put together and they just vote yes or no based on commercials that they see on TV. And I know when I was living in California, a lot of times those things are written. If you vote yes, you're actually voting no. If you vote no, you're actually voting yes. And
right.
And they sneak crap in there that way. Yeah,
it's worrying that they write these things in a way to actually confuse you further. Hello to Stephen, who just joined the live feed. Let's hope Stephen doesn't get kicked out. Don't you think it's an interesting concept, Swoop, that they're trying to sell Biden, the black vote for Biden, given, his 40-year history of trying to bring black people down, just by his actions and the bills he's tried to pass through the House and his terminology, even recently saying, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. Hasn't that ship sailed with regards to Biden?
I don't know if it's out mid ocean yet, but it's definitely left the dock. I think a lot of people, a lot of minorities in general, are not solidly behind the Democratic Party like they've had in the past.
No.
They said I think the world rule of thumb is 90% of blacks that vote Democrat. I don't think you're going to see that anymore. I don't know what the percentage is going to be, but I don't think I'm positive it's not going to be 90%. I think a lot of people's eyes are opening up to things, just like with all this stuff, with all these riots and things going on. People are starting to see through the facade, and so. Defunding the police. Who that affects most? The people who need them the most. The people that they're claim to be helping in those neighborhoods are the ones that are getting killed. These murder rates have skyrocketed in places like New York and Minnesota and all these different places. So I think people are starting to see what they actually have to offer, and which is very little that helps them out.
Absolutely. And it fills my heart with joy to see, videos all over the internet, on TikTok, on Twitter and YouTube and stuff like that, of black people in America saying, Black Lives Matter doesn't represent me as a black person living in the United States, and neither does Black Lives Matter, because it's clearly stupid middle-class white people that are buying this bullshit and supporting them and giving their money to Black Lives Matter, and that money is going directly back to the Democrats. So it's lunacy, really.
I saw an article today. They said Portland is probably one of the whitest cities in America, and all those Black Lives Matter protests, they're like 90+% of these fascist Antifa white kids that are down there causing all this ruckus. Most black, I shouldn't say most, I would say a lot of blacks did not actually align themselves with this. And people know, most people in America aren't Marxists. Most people in America aren't socialists, aren't communists, and they don't follow that line. So when people start to dig deep into that organization, they see what's going on there, and the red flags start to go up. So we'll see what happens. But I think that this whole voting in a block 90 percentile is over and done with.
Yeah, I absolutely do too. And we're just saying with Chet that that clearly Democrats are affected by the bad behaviors of Democratic governors too. In Michigan, Democrats in Michigan with regards to Governor Gretchen Whitmer are pissed enough to say that they're not voting Democrat this time. So I think that although they think they're making President Trump look bad, Democrats are not stupid. Well, not all of them, and they're actually seeing that the reasoning for this kind of elongation of the lockdown is because of blue states and Democrat governors. Clearly.
But the thing is the attitude and that they show. For instance, I heard somebody recently complaining about Kanye running, and they're saying, "Well, Kanye is going to take away black votes from Biden." Why would you assume that people who vote for Kanye were going to vote for Biden? Right. Kanye, I mean, he was in the White House wearing a MAGA hat. So if he's taking black votes away from people who are aligning themselves with him, he's probably taking some votes away from Trump. So to think, but they always assume that. It's like this whole thing about white privilege. You have these white people stand up and talk about white privilege, and I say, well, isn't that pretty bold of you to assume that you have privilege over me? But yeah. That's the racism that's embedded in the left. It's embedded in the left. They claim that they're anti-racist, but everything they say, do, and report is, if you look at it as at the definition of racism, it is racist. And
yeah, exactly.
It's been racist for all these years.
Exactly. I don't know what happens with my white privilege. I think I must be in a box somewhere after the last move, but there you go. I want to move on to our next topic. President Trump, he may take executive action to impose a moratorium on evictions with talks on a new virus relief plan making slow progress in Congress. Now, the White House is also exploring whether the president can act on his own to extend enhanced unemployment insurance payments, like an eviction moratorium where parts of the stimulus legislation were enacted in March but now have expired. Now, they're not interested in unemployment. They're not interested in evictions, which is a big deal, the president said of Democrats in remarks to reporters at the White House recently. People are going to be evicted, but I'm going to stop it because I'll do it myself if I have to. President Trump spoke while Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, Trump's chief of office, Mark Meadows, met at the Capitol with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Senate Leader Chucky Schumer. Both sides said after the 2-hour meeting that they made some progress and would convene again on Tuesday. It was productive. We are moving down the track, Pelosi said, adding that we still have our differences. Now, the two sides are trying to close the gap between the $3.5 trillion Democratic plan passed by the House in May and the $1 trillion package of aid that Senate Republicans introduced last week. Now, should evictions be banned, or would that be classified as socialism, Swoop? What say you?
When we have, we have things that happen to the entire nation at times.
Right.
Sometimes you have to do things that you wouldn't normally do. And if what we need to do is get people back to work. What we need to do is get people back to living their lives. Healthy. I'm not saying we don't look at this pandemic as anything less than it is, but I think people need to figure out a way. We need to figure out a way that people can kind of have some sense of living their lives and getting back to work. And until they can do that, if he could take steps to keep people from getting evicted, and not punishing the landowner, the homeowner either, because the landlord has to pay their bills. They have to pay their bills to the banks and whatnot. Everybody assumes that everybody else is rich or richer than them.
Right.
A lot of these landlords are just getting by as well. So, if he can put it in place a way that they don't get evicted and the landlord doesn't get penalized in the process, during this period of time, as long as it's got an end date, I have no problem with it.
Absolutely, and I agree. I heard the suggestion that it was socialism, and that kind of made me angry because here we are in the middle of a national crisis, whether created or not. And I do see both sides of this. If for landlords and tenants, landlords want the rent, but tenants want not to lose their place as well. And if they're not getting paid from their jobs, then how can they pay their rent? So I think this is a place where the government does need to step in because people should not be losing their rent. People want to go back to work. I think the coronavirus response has been the biggest load of bullshit ever from the perspective of it's not really any worse than the flu. Nobody's died from anything else in 2020 apart from COVID-19, which is bullshit because we know that people. I know people that have died of cancer in the last few months. But the government needs to have a level of response, and I'm going to get called a socialist for this. But the government needs to have a level of response that protects people, because you should not have to lose where you live because you are being told you can't work because of a disease that is not any more prevalent than influenza.
Well, the other problem is that a lot of these, yes, I think they should set something up so that people don't get evicted. But if you have an opportunity to go back to work and you don't, then scratch that. You lose that perk. I heard something today where a lot of people who collect unemployment, because they added that $600 on top of their regular unemployment thing, and the last thing they passed. A lot of those people are making more money than they were working, and they're refusing to go back to work when they have the opportunity to go back to work. And so these business owners are struggling again because they can't get come back to work. And people say, that's a falsehood. That's a small number. The numbers I heard today, it's like something like 50% of the people who took the unemployment benefit that have the opportunity to go back to work have not gone back to work, and because they're not I shouldn't say that, not gone back to work. They're making more money than they were when they were working, and 20% of those who took that employment are making double what they were making when they were working. So there's no incentive for them to go back to work.
No,
unemployment is less than what you normally make, so you have an incentive to go back to work. It's supposed to help you get over the hump, but keep you wanting to go back to work. And with that extra $600, people aren't wanting to go back to work. And
of course not.
If that's the situation, then you can get evicted, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, exactly. If that is the case, but people like Ocasio-Cortez want this to be continued. We have a similar system in the UK called furloughing, and basically, it's kind of the same thing, and people end up not wanting to go back to work. I understand some people have fear about going back to work, but if you just don't want to go back to work because you're a lazy mother effer, then yeah, you do deserve to lose your house and your income and your place of residence. But ultimately, those that are in this situation through no fault of their own, which I would say is the fair majority of them, what they should have is something in place. I think the government needs to throw a bit of money at this until we can get this sorted out. Because if the states are not opening up for political reasons rather than health and safety, then the government needs to step in. In fact, I would just write an executive order and say, if you don't open your state by this date, you're not getting your funding. That would make them do it.
You touched on something real quick, Xander. I'd like to jump on real quick. You said, you have a fear of going back to work. I understand some people have legitimate fears. I get that. I understand that 100%. But, if you have legitimate fear and you're still going out to Costco and you're still going out to to McDonald's and you're still going out here and there, go back to work. Now, if you have a legitimate fear, you're not leaving your house, and you're totally sheltered in place and type of whatever they call it. I can see that. But if you're going about your daily life and then you're telling me you have fear of going back to work, putting in your 8 hours, I don't buy it.
No, I don't either. And it's about the what you kind of term as legitimate, and I would not term that as legitimate people that are going to Costco, etc. We got to leave it there because we've gone over time, but tell people quickly where they can find you, Swoop.
Just go to Swoop's World Facebook page, and the updates will be popping up there. We're trying to get things rolling again, and I'm looking forward. I get to be on the Freedom on Deck this week, so
Brilliant.
having a good time this week. So
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot, Xander.
We'll be plugging
as
that
always.
for you. Thank you so much, my good friend Swoop from Swoop's World. Have a great weekend. Give our love to your beautiful wife.
Absolutely.
Thanks a lot, brother. Take care.
God bless.
Take care. You too. God bless. That was Swoop from Swoop's World. Make sure you go and check him out. My next guest is editor-in-chief from Reactionary Times and the host of Reactionary Times TV, my brother Julio Rivera from over there in New Jersey, and he's going to be calling us any minute now. Hello to everybody who's still in the chat room. I'm sorry people are getting kicked out. This sounds like my next guest, so please join me in welcoming back to the show, the one, the only, the fabulous Mr. Julio Rivera. How you doing, brother?
I am doing fantastic. It is fantastic, as always, to be on with you.
Good.
Mr.
It's always fantastic to have you. So you're in the United States right now. Is the brownout affecting, I don't even know if they're calling it a brownout, because apparently brownout is racist, because everything's racist now. Is there an electricity problem where you are?
I'm sorry, I didn't get that last part.
Is there an electricity problem where you are?
Oh, no. There is no blackout here. It's funny, I didn't realize how severe this is. I am in an apartment complex staying here temporarily while I'm in the States for a couple of weeks, and I'm facing inward towards the courtyard. So I didn't realize how bad all this was, but I was reading on my Facebook feed everybody from the local area talking about downed power lines and trees coming down and all kinds of damage, but I didn't experience it, thank God. We did have a false fire alarm yesterday, though, that forced us all outside of the building for a little while. But other than that, it felt like a school fire drill, where everybody goes out and we have to walk out single file.
Did they call your name?
Kind of stuff, but everything was okay. There was no real fire.
Good. Did they call your name and tell you to walk single file and all of that?
Exactly, yes. And that's asked for a pass to use the bathroom later in the day.
Absolutely. It's always the way. I want to jump right in because we are time-bound. I want to jump in with our first topic.
Yeah.
So the Senate Judiciary Committee review of the Russian investigation got off to a rousing start today when Senator Lindsey Graham questioned former Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates about her actions in the waning days of the Obama administration. Graham wasted no time getting to the phony Russian dossier on Trump that was compiled by former British spy Christopher Steele, which was paid for by Hillary Clinton's campaign and used to secure surveillance warrants on the president's 2016 campaign. We're talking about using a document that came from a Russian subsource to get a warrant against an American citizen that was full of garbage. Does that bother you, he asked Yates, who was one of the individuals who signed off on the FISA warrants. Before she could reply, he asked, does it bother you that the FISA court rebuked the Department of Justice and the FBI regarding the Carter Page warrant application? Yates replied that the agencies have a duty of candor with the FISA court before admitting they did not meet this duty. Stating that the document was a fraud, he asked Yates if she would sign it today, knowing what she knows now. She said, I would not sign anything I knew contained errors or omissions, she answered. So before acknowledging she did not know at the time. Now, in the lining of, is this the aligning of Obama's credibility coffin? What say you?
Yeah, I most certainly think so. I mean, I think that he lost his credibility a long time ago, and there's evidence that they actually, we're going after the opposition political party's presidential campaign. And I can't think of anything lower that a sitting president could do. I would think that is far below the office of the president of the United States of America.
Absolutely.
We've seen a lot prior to the last few years. Obviously, in the era of Obama, there've been a lot of division in America, but we've seen the Clintons get along with the Bushes. I mean, I think they're all dirty, quite frankly. But
of course,
before this immediate last couple of election cycles, it seemed like the differences within the parties were ideological, but they weren't so deep that you would have these underhanded tactics sort of that we've seen. I think that Obama has done a lot of really, really dirty, unprecedented things.
Absolutely.
And I think that the worst of it is really the surveillance of the Trump campaign. And the fact that President Trump knew about it and he was tweeting about it, I think foreshadows a lot that we're going to see in the coming months. I think that we're just starting to pull the yarn on this big ball of yarn. And I think a lot of people are going to wind up going down for this. I think that there has to be a remaking of the intelligence community. I think that we haven't done as much as we need to. Just getting rid of Strzok and Page and people like that isn't enough. I think it runs a lot deeper.
No.
I'd like to see a full investigation of the departments that were involved in specifically the surveillance of Carter Page and really the construction of this phony dossier.
Absolutely, I agree to 100%. I don't think that the FBI remains kind of unaffected, because even recently they were trying to. The FBI was trying to tie President Trump. I don't know what's going on with your phone, but it's terribly cracky. They were trying to tie President Trump to the Epstein Island case, and which was unsuccessfully. But surely the FBI's remit should be about the law and those breaking the law, and not politics or politicizing any of these things. That is the concern, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it is. They should be beyond politics. They should be looking just directly for criminality and looking to investigate criminality and prosecute criminality, but not going ahead and setting traps and all this. We're seeing what they did to Roger Stone, a process crime. And all of these things. They've been trying to entrap President Trump, trying to get him to testify for a long period of time, and Trump rightly hasn't really subjected himself to what would really be a one-sided and in a lot of ways unethical inquiry.
Absolutely. And I think the concern is that what really needs to happen with the FBI, and I don't mean FBI agents, I mean the upper echelons, the management of the FBI, is that they need to get rid of these Obama overthrows, because they're still politicizing today. And that's not what America is about. America is about fairness. And if we still have people in the FBI who are hell-bent on messing things up for Trump, they need to be gone. But I have a theory, and I want to run this by you very quickly before we go to the next topic. I think that when President Trump is I was going to say enthroned then, when he is secured as the president of the United States for another 4 years, I think he's really going to kick some ass, including the Clintons, all of these people, Obama, all of these people from the Democrats who have been career criminals and got away with it so long. What do you say about that?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly hope so. I would have liked to have seen him go ahead and go forth with that a little more aggressively initially. I mean, I think that some of the commentary that he made at the outset when he first became president, he said some things that were very concerning about not going after the Hillary Clintons of the world, and so that always kind of threw things into question. But I think that when the Democrats didn't show, I guess, the same sort of courtesy to President Trump, and they went after him hard, and then whatever happened with Jeff Sessions, recusing himself from some very important investigations and looking into some serious things, regarding Hillary Clinton. I think that set up Trump and kind of gave legitimacy to our feeling of legitimacy for the Democrats to go ahead and then go after President Trump, which they've done relentlessly. I think that that's going to continue, unfortunately, if because of the widespread mail voting, and let's say that, I think President Trump will win re-election, but I happen to think that because of, the battleground districts and the mail voting and all these sort of things, the Democrats are probably going to hold on to the House of Representatives, and it's just going to be another 2 years of investigations, impeachment inquiries, subpoenas of Trump associates. They're just going to continue this garbage for the next couple of years. So I think it's just where America's kind of doomed to congressional gridlock legislatively. I think Trump is going to have to, unfortunately, stretch the limits of the Constitution if he wants to get anything done.
Absolutely.
And do most of the improving of America by executive fiat.
Yeah, because none of these things are good for America or the American people, are they? Let's face it. I want to move on to our final topic because we are time bound. President Donald Trump will probably accept the Republican nomination for as presidential candidate at the White House this year instead of North Carolina. This solution was pitched even though federal and government employees cannot participate in events relating to a political campaign, which could cause ethical problems within the White House. This comes as the president attacked CNN for reporting indicating he still doesn't get it, the severity of the coronavirus pandemic. Now, this report came after Mr. Trump met with members of the White House's coronavirus task force, and a source told the organization that Mr. Trump would change the subject when people express dire problems relating to the virus. Now, Mr. Trump also went on to quite rightly attack Barack Obama this morning, saying his predecessor's eulogy for John Lewis was terrible and evidence and anger that people don't see. Aren't we tired of Barack Obama and the Democrats and their continued attack on President Trump when they ignored the failures of the Democrats?
Yeah, and to just at the outset of what you were talking about regarding the coronavirus, people criticize Trump, but then they fail to see, how the numbers have been fudged with the coronavirus, the way that they've been counting multiple positive cases for the same person as new cases, and there have been issues and errors with the actual testing, and then you have Barack Obama and John Lewis's funeral, and then you had the George Floyd funeral, where you have all these people getting together and gathering in a public place, and you don't see any criticism there. But then when Trump had his rally in Oklahoma, it was the biggest thing in the world to Democrats. Right. It was just, he just created this situation where all these people, oh my God, he killed Herman Cain, and oh my God, all these people got, there was a spike in cases because of the rally. But then again, the Democrats ignore the fact that in democratically ran cities and states, we have these uprisings and these riots where there's literally tens of thousands of people in the street.
Exactly.
No social distancing.
But did you not get...
And interacting with it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, sir. I was just going to say, did you not get the memo that gays, liberals, and protesters were immune to the virus, clearly?
Apparently, yes. Apparently, as long as you're holding a Black Lives Matter sign or a Molotov cocktail, or you're picking up one of the piles of bricks that are organized to be left there in the protest site, as long as you're doing that, you're not going to catch the virus. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm looking at it because now I'm literally back in the United States for the first time since this started, and I'm watching a neutered United States of America. The United States of America that I returned to, Xander Gibb, is not the United States that I left.
No.
It is not even close. I see people walking around scared with these masks on. You can't go anywhere without a mask. People look at you dirty, and I've been shot dirty looks because I've walked around, in, let's say, a parking lot on my way into an outdoor seating restaurant where the tables are like 7 feet, 8 feet away from each other, and everybody's afraid to talk and interact. This is not America. Based on a virus with a survival rate of well over 99%, we are acting like chicken you-know-what.
Yeah.
And this is ridiculous. We're millions of people, millions of businesses that have gone under, financial ruin that will take years for families to get out from under. There's going to be a surge, and we're already seeing a surge in divorce, a surge in domestic violence. These liars in the media that have scared us into believing that if you walk outside without a mask on, you're going to die, have effectively destroyed America.
Of course. But do you think that there's going to be a way through this? Because I said to Swoop in the last segment that I think the only way that the president is going to open up the states quicker is by refusing their funding. Because, you know, as we've already identified, they can go out and riot, they can go to funerals, they can go to Democratic events, and all of these things, but they're saying, oh, we can't go and vote because it's dangerous. I mean, isn't it clear that that's BS?
Yeah, exactly. It's damned if you do, Xander, damned if you don't for President Trump.
Absolutely.
Because people are literally, these liberals are literally still blaming President Trump for what's happened. And the fact of the matter is the reopening of each state has been it's been handled by the individual governors. President Trump still has not flexed and forced these individual states to do anything. They're all being run. It's the governors. What's happened in New York was Cuomo's fault. What happened in California was Newsom's fault. The way that things have grown progressively in different states, you know, are the individual responsibility of the governors. He still hasn't forced by federal and executive presidential fiat, you know, for the states to do anything. So
Right.
you can't blame President Trump. And let's not
No.
forget that this is all China's fault. China.
China!
China!
That's how we pronounce it on this show. So final question for you, Julio. Where do you see this going? Because America is kind of like, you know, spinning like a ball into a pile of crapola. Do you think President Trump will intervene? Will he wait for the election? Will he cancel the election? How do you think this will play out?
I hope that he cancels the election because there's no way in HE double hockey sticks that we're going to have a fair representative election this year. They're going to try to steal it. There's too much widespread mail voting going on, and we've already saw it in my hometown, Paterson, New Jersey, not 5 minutes from where I'm sitting here. President Trump tweeted out weeks ago about the special election in Paterson where 20% of the votes were invalidated because there were fraudulent mail votes.
Right.
This is basically going to happen on a larger scale in November. If I'm President Trump right now, I say, screw this. If you really believe that it's that dangerous to hold an election, we don't want people licking envelopes and sending them all around the country, spreading out germs. Let's go ahead and let's cancel this election till 2022. Let's go ahead and do something unprecedented here, and I guarantee you that you will see the COVID numbers immediately go down.
Yeah.
States will open up left and right, and America will go back to normal a lot faster if President Trump decides to postpone or cancel the November election.
I've said pretty much the same myself because I think it was a deterrent more than anything else. But I trust the president.
And if it becomes a problem, Xander, he can mobilize the military to smack these liberal these places around, get Black Lives Matter back in check. These radical Marxists that are trying to take over America, have the military go down there and deal with them.
But they also forget this. Final point, because we got to end. But they also forget that he's got the right to institute martial law, and then everyone will be screwed. So watch out, Democrats. Watch out, everybody, because President Donald Trump has a few cards up his sleeve. Tell people where they can find you, Julio. I know Reactionary Times TV is on a hiatus till the new series, but tell people where they can find out more about what you're doing.
Yes, go to reactionarytimes.com. Since I've been gone out of Europe, I got the wonderful news that Reactionary Times is now a Google News site. So if you go to Google News regularly, you can search Reactionary Times as a news source, and you can follow us from Google News, or you can go directly to the site reactionarytimes.com. Follow us on Facebook at ReactionaryTMS on Twitter, and follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you to Julio Rivera from Reactionary Times. Make sure you go and check them out. Stay safe, my brother, and I will speak to you very soon. Thanks a lot, Julio. We're done. We're out. Thank you so much for everyone who's made today's show possible. Thanks to Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck. Thanks to Julio Rivera, and thanks to my brother Swoop. Najer Phil of the Gibster. You can check me 5 nights a week, 5 Pacific, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, and 1 in the UK, and 10 a.m. the next day down there in Australia. Join us tomorrow for more scintillating chat when CV Burton and Stephen D. Snyder join us. Thanks for watching. Thanks for everybody in the live feed. I do apologize for people getting kicked out and for the poor quality, but this is down to the asshole known as Mark Zuckerberg. We are done. Thank you very much. I really do love you all. I've been Xander Gibb. Bye-bye.
It has been good to me this time around. Things were the bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact, and I can find no ribs. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to those who wait. Time it cannot know the bounds, and eras don't dictate.
Click the bell button and subscribe to keep up with the Xander Gibb Show. Oh, yes, sirree.